This is one of the boldest claims I have ever made on Watch YouTube, but I'm gonna stand by it. This watch is one of the most underrated timepieces on the market right now. And even though it's battery powered, it has a smoother sweeping seconds hand than all of the other mechanical watches I own. For $200, you are getting a watch made by Seiko, a reputable brand. You're getting a watch that has a movement that is the precursor to the Grand Seiko Spring Drive, and you're getting a watch that, in my opinion, is hands down the best Cartier Tank alternative. And I think that this watch is almost the pinnacle of a no-brainer watch that has made me seriously rethink the value that other watches at this price point are offering. This is the Seiko Dolce. And as a bonus for you all, I will be discussing Watch YouTube's biggest problem that not a lot of people want to hear, but definitely should listen to. So the star of the show is most definitely this fantastic movement called the Seiko 5S2-1A movement that was only produced from 1988 to 1989, and some theorize that they stopped production because they were moving towards Spring Drive. And I am far from a watch movement expert, but after reading tons of articles online, this is what I've gathered. So it has a stepper motor alongside a spring and a vial of viscous fluid that allows this to have a smooth sweeping seconds hand. And according to a Redditor, which admittedly isn't the most reliable source, this 5S2-1A movement is one of the first movements that has a true smooth sweeping seconds hand. But either way, this movement is pretty fantastic considering us watch enthusiasts who lust after a smooth sweeping seconds hand can get all of this for $200. Also, this watch hacks and runs at plus 20 to minus 20 seconds per month, and it also has a 2-ish year battery life. This also comes with a mineral crystal, which is acceptable at this price point, and also considering that this is a vintage watch and it is supposed to be a dressy piece. Also, this has 30 meters of water resistance, and as I've mentioned, because it's a dressy piece, these sorts of specifications are acceptable. So just for complete transparency, Alex from Acton Watches kindly sent over this Seiko Dolce, and I don't have to send it back. But as always, my thoughts are completely my own, and I have zero incentives to be positive about this watch. I just really like it, and I want to share this underrated timepiece with you.
So this watch comes in at 25.5 millimeters in diameter, 36 millimeters in lug to lug, 6 millimeters in thickness, and 3 millimeters at the crown with a strapaholic 20 millimeter lug width.
Just to get this out of the way, some people really don't like quartz watches, and while I can understand that, I also don't like the deadbeat seconds that some quartz watches have, this watch actually remedies that particular issue and more, because it actually outdoes mechanical watches in terms of the sweep across the dial. And as you know, quartz watches definitely have some advantages to their mechanical counterparts, as they are significantly more reliable and more accurate than mechanical watches. And also, just speaking from a perspective of someone who circulates through multiple watches a day, it's kind of a problem, but this watch has had a seriously tough time getting off my wrist. I mean, it's just that good, and when I do put it down and wear another watch for the day, it's an amazing feeling to pick your watch back up and it be on time. So clearly this watch pays true homage to the Cartier Tank, as it borrows some design elements from Cartier but doesn't completely copy the design. And I find it really interesting that a lot of people are touting the modern day Seiko Tanks as one of the best alternatives to the Cartier Tank, when I think that this Seiko Dolce has a lot more to offer and looks a million times better. And I would recommend waiting till the end of this video where I tell you exactly why I think that this watch is the best alternative to the Cartier Tank. And just in terms of general design language, this is clearly an elegant, dressy piece. So if you are enjoying this video, I would really appreciate it if you hit that like and subscribe button and ding that notifications bell to get notified on the latest videos on this channel. I would also recommend leaving a comment in the comment section down below, because I'm relatively diligent in responding to the majority of those comments. So this watch comes with a gold tone dial with a subtle brick pattern that has applied gold indices at every 5-minute interval. And typically I would not be a huge fan of a watch that you can't tell the exact time with, but considering that this is a dressy piece, I do think that it fits the aesthetic. And what also fits the aesthetic are these sharp gold hands. And right above the 6 o'clock marker, there is a fancy font that they use for the word Dolce that I really dig. So this watch case is fully polished and it is made out of stainless steel. And similar to my other remarks about this watch, even though I wouldn't be a huge fan of fully polished cases on other watches, considering that this is homaging the Cartier Tank, I completely understand it, and I think that it actually suits the watch. And the case back is vertically brushed with some Japanese writing on it. And continuing on with the case, there are 2 horizontal lines on the case that have a goldish accent to it that are so subtle that I haven't even noticed it until actually really paying attention to it. And again, these sort of small details that only an owner would notice really tickle my fancy in terms of enjoying watches in general. And the crown also has that sort of gold accent to it, and it is quite petite, and admittedly it is quite difficult to operate. However, considering that you'd only really need to change the time every year or so, I don't see that to be a huge issue. So one of the reasons that it is really difficult to take this watch off my wrist is due to how comfortable it is. And I think that really comes down to the extremely thin case. It is so wearable and it's so versatile as well, because just like the Cartier Tank, this can elevate a very casual outfit while also matching the occasion when it comes to dressy events. And some people may not be a fan of this gold tone dial, and what I would say to you is you can also get a black and white version of this dial that also comes with the same amazing movement that I would also recommend you check out if you don't like the gold. But personally, even though I don't like gold watches because I think that they can be kind of gaudy, especially when they're really big, there's something about a small gold watch that just feels empowering. And I know that this isn't a small gold watch. In fact, the case is very much stainless steel and looks like stainless steel. That gold dial kind of scratches the same sort of itch in my brain. And if you are a bigger fan of the channel, I would highly recommend checking out the Top Ticker Team membership, which allows you to get a few different perks, such as early access to videos such as this, priority response to comments, and more frequent updates, and tons of other perks I would recommend checking out. I find it mind-blowing that you can spend $50 more than the cost of a modern Seiko Tank and get this watch that does so much more and just flat out looks better than the Seiko Tank. And for those of us who don't have a $3,000 hole burning in our pockets, this is the best alternative to the Cartier Tank. And another controversial remark, if money was no object, I would seriously pick this Seiko Dolce over the Cartier Tank any day and every day. Compared to the Seiko Tank that everyone and their mom has been pushing on you, this watch actually has some historical significance, considering that the movement, as I mentioned before, was the precursor to the Grand Seiko Spring Drive and was only produced from 1988 to 1989. That's only 1 year. And also, when comparing the Seiko Dolce to some other AliExpress brands that try to homage the Cartier Tank, Seiko actually has a lot of historical cachet in this industry. I would say that Seiko is one of the most innovative brands in the entire watch marketplace, because Seiko was the first brand to ever create a quartz wristwatch. Seiko was the first brand to ever create a watch with a truly smooth sweeping seconds hand, and Grand Seiko, their sister brand, created the innovative Spring Drive movement. So, should you buy the watch? And I think you can kind of guess my response to that, and it is an astounding yes. This watch offers staggering value for money that has, as I mentioned before, made me seriously question the value that other $200 watches are offering. And also, this watch is relatively abundant online, so you'd definitely be able to find one lurking around the corners of the internet. It's the perfect homage to the Cartier Tank, in my opinion. It's so wearable, and I'm just so surprised that it's gone under the radar of tons of watch enthusiasts. And this sort of leads on to the big issue on YouTube, and it is the constant regurgitation of the same recommendations on every top 10 best watch video. I understand that the khaki field mechanical is a good watch, but you don't have to tell me that a million times, day after day. I mean, personally, I don't understand how they do it. I mean, don't you get a little bit bored of saying that the khaki field mechanical is such a good watch and the Rolex Explorer is the best Gato watch day after day? I mean, I sound repetitive just saying that. So unfortunately, because of the same recommendations in every single video, I think that it's a tragedy, because then watches like these that are hidden gems get pushed to the side and no one knows about them. But there is one upside to this watch being underrated, and it is the price point, because I bet you any money that if this watch was more well known, it would be skyrocketing in prices. So thankfully, in that regard, it's not super popular, and that's exactly why I think you should pick one up. It just offers staggering value. So I want to thank Dean and Steve, who are the current Time Ticker team members. Thank you so much. You really are supporting this channel. And again, as I've mentioned before, it's crazy to me that people are watching me talk about watches in this room. And as always, I hope that this watch channel patinas like your favorite watch. I will see you on another episode on the Time.